y'all. Hey, welcome back to A Good Things Marriage Chats. I'm Tiara.
And I am Adrian. Welcome back
I'm back, y'all.
to the room. We appreciate you all. We love you all. And thank you for joining us again
Yes.
today. Okay. Okay. So, today, guys, we got some cute little stuff or whatever that we're going to talk about or whatever. Okay. We're going to be talking about the love languages that we heard from Mr. Gary Chapman that we've been hearing for the majority of our lives. Yeah, it's very effective. It's very loving. It's very all the things. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell your friends about us. Tell your mama about us. Tell your Grammy and your auntie about us. We totally appreciate it.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So before we get into the meat and potatoes, we do have a love bite for you all today that we want to share. And we're going to have a little discussion about it. And then we want to hear what your thoughts are about it as well.
You know a phrase I used to say before I got married that I'm not a fan of anymore? Why should I praise you for doing what you're supposed to do? Or why should I praise you for doing the bare minimum? Thank you for doing that is an acknowledgement and a recognition. And I don't care how small the task is, I'm gonna say thank you for that. Even if within our understanding, that's the thing that you decided to take ownership of. My wife quit her job to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. And sometimes I gotta work crazy hours and she be having to hold the girls down solo for hours at a time. And even though that's her job, per our agreement, that's her responsibility. I always take the time out to say thank you. And I take the time out to acknowledge that it was hard. Just from counseling couples, people invalidate their partner's experiences all the time. But how hard can it be to, all you had to do was stop. And I get it, I'm about to put this back in the jar. And I get it, when we don't feel acknowledged, it's hard to acknowledge other people. It's hard to do for you what I don't feel like you do for me enough. Sometimes people have this attitude of nobody clapped for me, so why should I have to do all that for you? And what they don't recognize is they're perpetuating the same pain that they felt. If she don't eat the sandwich, I'm gonna crash out, dog. I already know. I be pulling in some crazy hours. I work a lot. My wife always acknowledges that. And even when I want to quit, that validation just takes me so far. And for that, I appreciate her.
That was good.
That was good. That was really, really, really good. It definitely resonated with me
Yeah.
because I am my husband and I decided that when we had children, and it was more for cost reasons, that it would be more cost effective for me to stay at home to take care of our girls. Um, and it is hard. It is hard. But he does validate me and you tell me that he appreciates me for holding down the house. Because it's hard work. Yeah, it's sometimes I just go in the closet and cry because I'm tired. I'm out touched, like overstimulated. Um, Especially like with the girl now, both of them are in school. So it gives me like time and space to just kind of like be by myself, like when they're gone to school. But when I had both of them at home at the same time, somebody go find the nearest corner so that I can go sit in it, please.
Yeah.
Please. But I love those little girls and I would do anything for them. But it's nice to hear that this young man, what was his name? I think it's Kier Gaines or something like that. Um it's definitely like a breath of fresh air just hearing him like be like, yeah, I know it's hard, and because of this agreement that we made, I know that she's probably at home about ready to crash out because she got to hold down the girl. That's exactly how it is here. My husband, he works long hours. Even right now as we're recording this podcast, I'm holding it down doing this, conducting the kids to go take a bath so they can get ready for bed and be ready for school in the morning. So I mean, it's hard work. It's good work,
Yeah.
but I definitely appreciate him, validating his wife and being a voice for the ladies out there that are just looking for some kind of validation. You should be getting from your husband, you
Yeah.
know.
As a segue of us moving into love languages, I think it's fair to recognize that validation, quote unquote, appreciation is needed, like no matter what the love language is, everybody wants to feel appreciated. Everybody wants to feel seen, heard, and acknowledged. You know, there's been times where I have shared, I've thanked my husband for different things, and he would say, like, what you say thank you for? And I'd be like, because you did blah, 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 you know what it is. And so I want to say that to encourage somebody who may be in a relationship where maybe that's not going that way, that even if you want it, still give it. You know,
Yeah.
that partner's going to catch on because they may have grew up in a household where there was no appreciation, where kids
Right.
dragged around being a remote carriers to fix me some water, to go do this, expected to do it instead
Right.
of them for the things that you do have them do or you ask someone else to do. It shouldn't just be, like he said, a natural expected thing without still appreciating them for doing it, because at the same time, we all know you can still do something, but still do it hasty, nasty, with an attitude. People don't have to be kind. People don't have to be nice, and
Right.
you don't know anything could change. You don't know what kind of day your spouse has. I told you several times that I would commend her on being an at-home mom because I couldn't do it. It's a struggle, but I've also had struggles too because with me being in well, I'm not as busy now, with my girls being older and me switching up jobs. But previous jobs, working for my previous employer, I was busy all the time. I was working overtime, long hours. As soon as I'm trying to hurry up and leave, go do this, go do this, go do that. And a lot of times I would still end up doing a lot of things. And I think a lot of times
Mhm.
wives do feel that way. It just depends on the
Yeah.
scenario, because everybody has different agreements, as Adrian said. But I say that to say, if no matter what, if you can't get no other language right, at least acknowledge and appreciate your partner.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
imperative. So
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because it makes you feel, I don't know, it makes you feel like, dang, okay, I'm doing something right. Because I know, like, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or a working mom, sometimes we be having a mom guilt. Sometimes we be having it, am I doing enough? Am
my,
I there enough? Am I available enough? Like, and when our husbands come in and say, you're doing an amazing job. You're doing an amazing job making sure. Girl, these pants will drop so quickly. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Because I mean, you have to appreciate them too.
if you don't know about the cards, go back a couple episodes where she was talking about the cards.
Uh-huh. Go back to them cards. Go back to them cards. All right. So just to hop right on into these meat and potatoes. Yeah. As Tweet said, we are talking about them love languages, girl. Now, we always hear about the five ones. So, the words of affirmation, acts of service, the receiving or giving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Um, I mean, those are the ones that we pretty much like go by and follow.
Right. And
The term.
for anyone who doesn't know about those, Gary Chapman actually has like a quiz online where you can go take the quiz. So it'll ask you a bunch of different questions and kind of fill you out and tell you where your stronger love language may be. You may have more than one at the top end or whatever, but it'll tell you. And I can tell you too, like just from my personal experience, you definitely want to take, if you're going to do this one, take it more than once a year because the
Mhm.
changes. There may be a way you certain feel right now where you need more of something. Because dynamics might have changed in the household. It could have been the way the jobs or whatever, where, you know, things just change. So I strongly suggest taking it more than once in a year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because it's the same thing as like uh I could think one way about something yesterday, and then today I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't think I think that way anymore. Same thing, same
Right.
thing, same
Yeah.
thing. And then also, I know they have love languages for the kids as
Yeah.
well. So, they can help you bond, more with your child.
We're gonna
Just know.
a couple episodes down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So y'all definitely make sure y'all, check out the Five Love Languages book by Gary Chapman. I think it's a great read too.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
some of the other ones that aren't really mentioned, and I think it's not that they're not popular, but I think they just kind of like came up after this whole five love languages, and then people started like realizing, like, oh, but people sometimes it's not just that, sometimes it's like other things too. Like, how some people are like, man, food is my love language. Like, that could be an act of service or just, enjoying good food. Someone, knowing or realizing, oh, dang, she likes good food. Like, it's something like that. Something like that. I could drag it on and on and on and on. But the first one that we're gonna mention is the shared experiences. Like I will say Cortez and I like to experience new things together. So like whether it be like a new restaurant or a new dessert or a new entertainment spot or just we like to like experience those type of things like together, but then also we find ways to bond together off experiences that we've had before, like outside, like maybe when we were younger or something, and then we're like, oh, you had that experience too. It allows us to bond and like kind of like talk
Yeah.
amongst each other about those experiences as well. So it could be the shared experience that you all share and create together, or the shared experience that you all have like experienced individually, but you came together and was like, oh dang, you experienced it. Like I know a lot of people like experience things like that in their relationship, and they'll mention it like, yeah, I didn't know that. I thought I was the only one going through stuff like that or experiencing stuff like that.
So,
So
and I want to back up a little bit too. I know we're going into things. I I guess when I think about what you just shared about shared experiences, is I almost look at it as a different way, a
mhm,
type of love language, because it's one that you guys can both equally agree on, mutually like together, that you enjoy,
mhm,
and which is kind of what we're going into, leading into going through these. Whereas the love languages that we mentioned before by Gary Chapman, those are specific to the person. So
mhm.
I want to make sure we have a distinction here. You
Yeah.
make sure that you are learning, which we've talked about learning several times, learning what your spouse likes and needs and what makes them feel good and how that may change. But you also want to find the things that you guys both enjoy and like together. And that's what
Mhm.
we're to now. So they're both important. Not that Gary's list is, in total, but
Right.
find the things that's for each other separately. And then you also want to find the things that you both like together.
Mhm. I think it helps you serve one another better.
Yeah.
It definitely does. That's part of getting to know your. Wasn't that one of our videos, girl? We did so many videos. I don't even know what we talk about, but that's part of getting to know one another. That's a part of like your bonding time, and being able to listen enough to be like, oh, okay, yeah, she likes this, he likes that, we like doing this together. Like that's all a part of it. It just makes you stronger. It definitely does. It definitely does. Um, the next one is humor and playfulness. Are you humorous? What's the humorous? Humorous? Humorous?
Humor or humor.
Humor? Humorous. Girl. Look, if somebody had me at knife point, I guess I would have been gone if I had to say that word, because I messed it up. I messed it up. But humor and playfulness. Do
Yeah,
you all do that in your relationship or?
quite a bit because
Mhm.
my husband is very playful. He still likes to tickle, play fight, grab my foot. Just the other day, he just picked me up out of nowhere, completely off the ground, up to I don't know when was the last time I was ever that high in the ceiling. He's like, "You didn't think I could pick you up, did you?" So yeah, yes, he definitely brings in our relationship, and we definitely both enjoy it together. But I'm
Uh,
picking him up. I might try to
please don't.
tickle him, but he's not ticklish for real, so it's not as fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, me and Cortez, like I bring the funnies. Cortez, I mean, he's I love him. He's so smart. Funny. I mean, he be giving the dad jokes. A good dad joke could take you a long way, okay? He be giving the really good dad jokes, but he is very playful as well. What is it with guys and tickling though?
I I don't know because when I think about it, my dad was like that. I don't know. I guess it's just a dad thing. They do that with the kids, with the babies. I remember several
Uh-huh.
little and Cornell would do stuff like that with them. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I let me tell you something. I'll take a tickle for like 30 seconds and then I'm getting offended after that. I'm getting offended and I'm ready to fight because I'm like, okay, now stop. Now. I get tired of the tickling after a while, but the playfulness is very it brings back like the innocence of your relationship, like the very beginning of the relationship. Um to me, I know for us personally, it makes me feel like, oh, we're back to like how we were when we were younger, just kind of like thinking about those like past
big
moments and stuff.
times at the butterflies and the getting up.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does. So I definitely appreciate the playfulness. I always say I'm a kid at heart because I really am. The next one that we have is emotional availability. And I think emotional availability goes hand in hand with emotional intelligence.
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing like being in a moment with your spouse where
Mhm.
both of you all can be vulnerable and connect in a different way that maybe you hadn't before. And sometimes it's not always the best moments that bring you to that place because
Mhm.
a lot of times there's challenge or hurt or sadness or grief or whatever. And so, but we know those growing pains, those type of things, they still help to encourage some of those moments. And while it's not the most ideal, I just think it could bring a new form of vulnerability because you're seeing your spouse in a different light. You get the chance to be there for them in that situation, connecting, being there for them, comforting them, So anytime you guys can be vulnerable together, I think it always brings about growth.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Because one thing you don't want is one person, being so vulnerable and just pouring themselves out, and then the other person being like, okay. Like, no, you ain't gonna okay me. You ain't gonna okay, you gonna hold my hand and rock me to sleep. That's what you're gonna do. You gonna help me through this. So
But that's
um
no, because there is some people who have that struggling. I'm not gonna sit up here in front like we haven't had that problem.
mhm,
I'm not a super emotional, cry easily, usually type of person, but I am very sensitive still. And so there might been times where while I might not cry, I might be upset or I might get more quiet, where I might shut down or what my husband might call silent treatment. And
uh,
so that would take me to a place where he don't really know how to deal with it because he hadn't had to deal with it before. Now, of course, we've been together a long time now, but when he was first learning me, if I get to that, if I get upset, it's like they don't know what to do. especially if they didn't really get a chance to see that side with their mother or their parents or somebody teaching them how to care for somebody. Like, what do I do? Do I touch them? Do I hug them? Do I step back? Do I, you know? So that's still something you have to teach your spouse too. It may feel uncomfortable to do that, but they won't know unless you tell them. In that moment, I really would have preferred that you hug me, or I really, when I get like that, just give me a moment, or when I get like that, come and just hold my hand and sit next to me. Tell them what you would want in those moments. That's the only way they're gonna know.
That is so true. That is so true. I agree with that too. I agree with all of you. You be smart, girl. You be real smart.
Silly.
You be real smart. Well, the next one that we have is spiritual connection. Spiritual connection. Now, I remember growing up because we come from the church, y'all. We come from the church. And the church always used to tell us that we had to be spiritually yoked with our spouse. And if you weren't spiritually yoked, you were destined for failure in your marriage because you can't be unevenly yoked. You can't be a Catholic and a what's a Pentecost person and get together and think you go home. I don't believe that to be true. I think that each person brings something to the table. They bring some level of spiritual knowledge or their own walk with God to the table, and they teach each other as time goes, as a relationship goes. Like you're learning, and that's a way to connect. You know, but I don't think that if you're closed-minded, um and you're dating someone that's not the same religion that you are, I don't think that it's destined for failure. I think, you all can bond off your connection to the creator and meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Now, and we know, there's always topics where people get real defensive and real combative, and religion is one of them, politics is another. So while we're not suggesting that necessarily you get engaged or married to an atheist, we're definitely not saying that. We're still trying to make sure that you understand you want someone that it's okay to still be with someone who may have some slight differences, because maybe they're just learning and there's certain things that you guys are going to learn together. I think I've shared with you guys before, my testimony. Like, me and my husband, we came up at the same church, we were under the same pastor, we used to have our own Bible studies together, but there's been a point in time where my husband kind of took a step back and wasn't really going and wasn't really sure when to go. His beliefs never changed, but his perspective about going to church every Sunday just changed. And I remember at one point when I used to like freak out about it because I'm like, Lord, what's going on? What did I do? What happened? And I used to worry about his soul. And I'm glad that I got past that point of knowing that that's not, in my opinion, who God is, that I don't have to worry about that. But now we're having some of the best conversations spiritually wise that helps us to connect even more, because not only am I learning, but now he's open to listening to what I'm learning, and we're learning and digging together. We're literally having conversations about it every day, and it just warms my heart every time we do it, because I'm like, Lord, this was me trusting you for him, because ultimately what you have to remember is you both have your own separate journeys. They still belong, no matter where they're at in their beliefs, they still belong to God. They're still God's child at the end of the day. And he knows them best. He knows what they need. So the best thing you can do is pray for them and their journey. But you guys definitely want to have those conversations before you get married, though, just to see where everybody's at. But just know, stuff can change. Dynamics can change. People can fall away. People can change their minds, and like the word says, we shouldn't just be leaving them because they changed their mind. That ain't loving unconditionally. So
Yeah, that was beautifully said. I definitely agree. Um, I know, like with me and Cortez, um, like he wasn't really like raised in church. Um, but sometimes they would go to church versus me, like I was at church every Sunday and I sang in the youth and the young adult choir and I, uh did the Bible study and I went to Bible study with Twee. And, versus, him, it was like, oh, we go to church on New Year's and Christmas and Easter. like
right.
so now at where the place where I am now, in my spiritual growth, it's not that he's not interested. He, is just kind of watching me, grow and learn. And when I share things with him, he's like, "Oh," so and he'll ask a little bit more. But we're just, still trying to figure out the spiritual connection. It's not like we don't pray together because we do pray together. Like, that's still part of our spiritual connection. But as like far as what we know and how we're learning about, who God is to us in our life, we're, both learning a little differently. Um, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a bad thing. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. We're just,
It's the opportunity.
growing. Yeah, it's an opportunity for us to, for me to learn something new and then I come back and teach him and he's like, "Oh, okay." Like he's getting to the point to where Cornell is. Like, he's getting there, but it's not, that our way is
Right.
right or wrong. It's, we're just on a journey together. Um, so the next one, and I don't know if I would consider this to be like a love language, but I think it's more of an understanding, but independence and space. So if you know me, you know that I like my space, okay? I need space to thrive and to be great. I need my space. And if I don't get it, I'm not going to be the nicest. I just need it. This is where I say it's more so an understanding with the independence and the space. So it's not that I don't want to be around my husband. I do. But I feel like a lot of my time and my space is consumed with like children and like the public spaces and like caregiving and things like that. A lot of my time is like spread out in that, and I don't really get a lot of time to just like sit and just be with me. um I appreciate when I do get the space, and he understands that. So if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'll say like, I just got to go to the room, and he'll say, okay. He understands. He knows that I'm not like being mean to him. I'm not being mean to the kids. I just need a little like space and quiet. Independence. I was a strong, independent black woman. When he met me, I was a strong, independent black young lady when he met me in high school. And I still am. I, think independently. I, have my own independent ideas. Um, like I am, this person. And a lot of the times, in my independence, I don't like asking for help. So I'll struggle. I'll struggle. And then he has to come in and be like, babe, I'll do it. It's okay. You don't have to. And I'll be like, oh, okay. Sometimes it's hard to relinquish that independence, girl, because
Yeah,
it's been ingrained. It's been ingrained. But what about you? Do you like space and things?
I do. But not a lot though. I mean, when I say space, I mean when I'm ready to go hang with my friends, um, if I need to go have a meditation, if I need to go to the gym, cool. And I'm really just getting to that place now where I have a little bit more freedom. Um, so I'm having to choose what's more important because there's a lot of things I'm doing, pursuing as far as like the business, like coaching people on the side, stuff like that. But when I'm ready to have our time, I'm also ready to have our time. And so one thing we try to incorporate is like one day a week, like Sunday night or Sundays, period. We try to make Sunday like our day if we can, no matter what, at least some part of that day, getting some hours in with one another. But just trying to be as intentional as we can about the time we have. That's really been our theme that we've been saying to one another lately, is because you can get real caught up in just sitting up in the bed watching TV and one person on their phone or both end up on their phone. And so I'm like, it's been times where he's like, honey, I really want to make our time more attention. There's times where I have to say it, and then we both have to be like, okay, give me the remote, you know. Um, so yeah, I like to have certain times, but I also really enjoy being able to have that time with him uninterrupted as much as I can. So it's, you make a perfect balance. Now, I'll say I'm not gonna say who the actress was, but there was somebody here lately who was saying how her husband had a separate house, married. And I'm sorry, I just can't. This is not me judging nobody. I just can't see how you think that's okay. Now, if you got a man cave, if you got a she shed, that's cool. If you need to take a weekend trip by yourself, that's cool. But to have a regular everyday residence separately, I'm not with that. That just to me sounds like it drives division, encourages thoughts, and it just
I was going to say, in this economy, let me tell you something. I be needing my space. I need my space, but I don't need that much space now. I need to be able to rub my feet on your ankles when we go to bed at night. I don't want to be in a whole separate house. Like, I get like some people, because I've heard some people sleep in two separate bedrooms, and it's not because they don't love each other, but it's because, like, we don't get as, like, just every day in everyday life, we don't get as much sleep as we need anyway. And so some people find it a little disturbing to just lay in the bed with someone else. Um, like I saw this article on I think it was Vice or something. It was years ago, and they were talking about this. Like, people were like, some people were like, yeah, my husband just snores very, very loud, and the sound of his snoring, I cannot sleep. I can't get comfortable because it's so loud that I'm uncomfortable. So I get stuff like that. But even so, like on the weekend, we bed buddies. Okay, like I said, I want to rub my feet on your legs.
people like that's one of the main things I be hearing when people thinking about, oh, I want a partner, I want somebody I can wake up to, look at the face in the morning. And so I'm like, yeah, that just sounds more like a business arrangement. I'm sorry. I don't get that.
Yeah, I'm not, we ain't doing no two separate houses, girl. We
No.
ain't, that's
I can't even see it would have to be pretty bad for me to have two separate beds or bedrooms. And I remember at one point my grandparents did that. But yeah, I would rather invest in fixing whatever need to be fixed than to have the two separate bedrooms.
okay. A CPAP machine really helps with that.
Right.
It might be a little loud or whatever, but they have the one that can go in your mouth and you just breathe like that instead of the one going over your face. A CPAP machine could help with the snoring. It definitely can. My husband's a hot sleeper.
Mm.
Like, he's like a like he's so hot, like when we're in the bed, and I don't like being hot. But you know what I'm gonna do in this 1 degree weather out here? Open up this window. Okay, I don't care how cold it is. I'm gonna crack that window and I'm gonna make sure I got that ceiling fan on so I can kick my leg from up under that cover and cool off.
Right.
Okay, because what I say for the third time? I want to put my feet on your legs.
Right.
That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. So so yeah, the that type of space is like, I just like, I know for me personally, I just, sometimes got to just be by myself just for a moment to like kind of reconnect to me and ground.
Yeah.
But we ain't having no two different houses, girl.
Mm-mm.
No, we're not.
Right.
So the next one that we have is practical support. Now, I know everybody ain't supportive. I, how else can I say it? I know everyone is not supportive as they could to their wives. Like
But
we,
definition is different.
huh?
And some people's definition of support is different.
Yeah. Yeah. We see a lot of this on TikTok with people who are in marriages that are venting. I'm not gonna say complain, but venting about not having just the support that they need. So just kind of like cheer each other on while they're in a relationship. Like the Kier Gaines guy said, show appreciation. Show appreciation, because I feel like that's what this practical support is. Show appreciation, especially to mothers. I mean, to dads too. Um, but because I'm a mother, I'm a mama, no drama. Show support to the hardworking parents that are out here doing a thing, uh, working, trying to take care of their family, providing for their family, things like that. Show each other support. Show each
Yeah.
other that you care and you appreciate one another for just the roles that you play in your family and your relationship.
And even more, make sure that, again, this is another thing where it really comes to communication. Because this makes me think about, I don't know if you guys watch Marriage at First Sight. I love Marriage at First Sight.
Look,
There's this, the last season it was on, and I cannot remember it. I can't remember the couple's name right now, but it's a black couple who everybody feels like they're good together. Everybody want them back together. They unfortunately they got to the altar. I mean, well, they married at the altar first sight. But when it came to decision day, the wife decided she wanted to move forward and the husband did not. Everybody was shocked. She was mad. She left like a G, but she was hurt. And he felt like at the end of the day, he just kept saying, I just didn't really feel like I really had that support. I really had that support. And so on the reunion show the other day, she was like, I still don't know what you mean by I didn't give you support, because who was making sure your clothes was ready? Who reminded you about this? Who helped you with your homework? Who helped you with this? Who did this? Who did this? But all because she couldn't fly out to go with him to an event, you ain't supporting me. What about everything else I do? So I'm saying this to say, if there's certain things that you want for support, and please don't assume that they know what that means. You need to tell them, I would really love for you to be there. Because I'm telling you, half the time we want to hear you tell us that you want us there, that you need us there, that you need this, you need that. I want to hear that. Because why? Because your partner wants to feel needed. Not only do you want to feel needed, you want to feel, the other one want to feel supported. So that means you guys can have a conversation about, here's what I need, here's how you can support, and then appreciate their support, and everything will be all good. But everybody's communication styles are different. Same way support styles can be different. So you have to talk about it. Don't just see, oh, they didn't support me and don't say anything. And then when you bring it up, don't bring it up negatively. Saying, I would have loved that you was there today. That would have really meant a lot to me. So next time in the future, can you join me? Because I really needed you there today. And that would have felt great, whatever way you want to say it. But just tell them.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I know, like, for with me and Cortez, there were times where, so I don't know if I may have mentioned on here, but like I be singing in bands, not by
Mhm.
myself, in
In
bands.
relate.
Okay, in bands. Right. Right. But I be singing in bands. And it be like there are times where I'm like, man, I would really like for my husband to just come and, support. Now, it's not that he doesn't, but he doesn't as much. But I also know and understand that he's not, because some of the places that we sing is like clubs and stuff, and he don't want to be in no club. He ain't trying to be up in the club. Me neither. But I'm getting paid to sing, so a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. So, but there were times where I was like, dang, I would have, wanted him to be there to at least support me and what I'm doing. And I vocalized that to him before, and he's like, he'll apologize and he'll try to, make it there. A lot of the times though, too, we might not have like the support system as far as childcare. So it's like I gotta go sing. Somebody gotta stay here with the kids if our in-laws or if my in-laws aren't available to watch the kids. So, but like that's something that we are like working on, because I do a lot of like we do a lot of performances and things, a lot of shows, and so there's a lot of opportunity. And I'm not saying that he has to be at every single performance because that's a little overkill. But it's like, you could come to a couple of like you could come to a couple of them. And so that's something that we're definitely like as far as intentionality, being intentional about. Like, hey, let's make sure that we have childcare for this so that you can come to this performance. And then he's like, oh, okay. And then he buys his ticket and he, comes or whatever. But can't say that for everybody else. So, and for that, I say, I do apologize. I do apologize. Girls, guys, you are loved. And you're supported through us.
And
We
please,
appreciate you.
please speak up.
Yes.
Ask one time and feel rejected and don't ask again.
Yes.
Up and ask again.
Yes.
Still isn't being heard or understood, then find the right time to be like, to share with them and let them know how much it would mean for them to be there and try again, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes us as spouses can get caught in our head and really feel like she don't really need me there. He don't really need me there. It's not really a big deal to her if I'm there or not. And really it might not be a big deal, but it's something that would be highly, highly, highly appreciated and valued and make you drop, like Adrian said.
Those panties. Step
Right.
one foot out of the other, one foot in the next foot. That's how the appreciation is gonna be shown.
That's right.
So we encourage that. We definitely do. We
That's right.
definitely do.
Everybody should still be working on brownie points. Are we doing
Yes.
brownie points still? We should still be doing brownie points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. Fudgy brownie points. Because those are my favorite. The next one is intellectual stimulation. Let me tell you something, sis. I am a person. I'm a student of life. I am a life learner. I like to take in information and go regurgitate it to somebody else. Okay. Um, and sometimes I'll even experiment and try to put a little action behind the things that I've learned. Um, but sitting down and having a really good intellectual conversation with my husband, you know, it makes me, I don't know, it makes me want to scream. It really does. It really does. Intellectual stimulation is very, very well, I'm not gonna say it's very, very important to everyone because not everyone, is into that. Some people want to sit back and listen to music. But I have noticed that I've seen like a lot of people on like the socials saying, I just, want to be able to sit down and, talk about life with, this person and, hopes and dreams and goals and aspirations and all this other stuff. And I just be like, that is a wonderful thing to have, but you like not everybody wants that. Not saying that my husband don't like having intellectual conversations because there are times where we're like sitting and we having like really good like deep talks and stuff. But other times he be like, girl, I want to talk to you about this fishing rod that I found at the Walmart that I think I want to get for when it's fishing season. Because I told y'all before that he's an outdoor man and he's gonna find some grass to walk through. Okay. But he does uh give me space and room to like initiate those conversations with him so that we could like talk amongst each other, and it just makes my spidey senses and nervous and all the other things like just I don't know, go haywire. I love a good like intellectual like that'll also make the panties drop as well. Okay. What about you, Twee?
Yeah, so I was sitting up here thinking about how, like, even when I just shared with y'all about the spiritual conversations that we've been having, like, I feel like that's still playing into talking about intellectual. And then there's times too where I don't really consider us gossipers, but it's times where you just like, honey, guess what? Or somebody at work having that pillow talk, just being able to joke about just any old random like whatever, just being able to talk about anything. But the intellectual gets me too, because it's like you, I like to dig and I like to share. And I as soon as I find, I'm sending out, sharing YouTube, sharing this, sharing that. Because I want everybody to know what I seen. I want to be able to talk about it later. So we share videos with each other all day long through Messenger, Instagram, all of those things. So we can talk about it.
I'm gonna add that to the list as well. Sharing videos, girl, that's a love language because it's literally me talking to you through the caption or the expression in somebody else's video that like put all those words together in a way that I couldn't put it together so that you can understand it.
Yeah.
Girl, that is a whole if you don't talk to me in TikTok, well now what how do you pronounce it? I'm not gonna mess up that word. Little red book. Little red book. I'm working on the Mandarin part. Uh, but if you don't talk to me through crazy videos, funny videos, you know what? Cortez gets so sick of he gets sick of me sending those dang on videos with the cats and how the cat how the cat be like meowing to yeah, they be doing the whole conversation. And it's like the girlfriend and the boyfriend. And of course, it's like, send me another animal video. But I love cats and dogs. I really do. I really do. Like, but it's so funny to me. But I send them to him, and he huffs and puffs, but he finds them funny too. But talking through social media videos and memes, girl, that's a whole thing. It's a creative way
Yeah.
of chatting and communicating with each other. Yeah. So the last one that we have on here is memories. Let me tell y'all, building a memory with the person that you love. And those memories start from the day that you met, then the day that they asked you to be their boyfriend or girlfriend, then the day that they proposed, then the day that y'all got married, and then the day that y'all brought the kids into the world, and the day that you just stood back and observed and was like, dang, we got a whole we got a whole life. That it's a bonding, connecting type of thing. It's so beautiful. It's so wonderful. Sitting back, oh, remember when we did this? Remember when we did that? Remember when we used to, like, me and Cortez sometimes, remember we used to go on picnics at Forest Park? And look, at one point, Cortez is a year older than me. And so he would go get some little what's the little the Boone's wine? Is it Boone's Farm? He would go get the Boone's Farm wine because he was 21 and I was 20, so I couldn't. So he would go get the Boone's and some kind of fruity flavor. And then we'll like get the little plastic little wine glasses and go to Subway or Panera, and we'll go sit in the park and just sit there and just look out into the field. And like those are like good memories that we created together that we can bond on, and then we can share those experiences with the girls later on. We could make, new memories with them, going on picnics and going to the zoo and going apple picking and all the things that we love doing. Like, I just love creating memories. Memories. What about you, Twee?
I do too. I was just sitting up here thinking about like some of the pictures that I have in different places in my room that I could just look at and remind me like, oh man, we had such a good trip. It's usually something that's like a trip somewhere that we took pictures. But we really do value the trips that we get to make with one another. And I shared with you guys before, we used to try to do at least 2 trips a year if we can. But I those we always try to make the best out of those. And not that we, haven't created memories like with the girls and doing stuff here, but I just really value a nice getaway with just
Yeah.
us. It's just nothing like it to me. That's if I had to choose a love language, that's definitely one of them. I think my husband the same because he likes to travel. He likes to
Mhm.
get out of St. Louis and just do something different. So that's something we both enjoy too.
Yeah. I think that we're going to start doing stuff like that because like me and before we had children, boy, I was like, okay, well, let's do a quick little road trip to Kansas City, or we weren't going far. We were just like, go a few hours out or whatever, maybe spend the day, make it a day trip, drive up and drive back. um but uh we don't do that as much as we used to. um we try to with the girls um do like little road trips. There's a candy, they call it like a candy factory, that's maybe like, I think it's like 3 hours from us, going towards like Oklahoma. But we go there, to take the girl, like, you guys want to go to the little candy store, so we'll drive the 3 hours and get all the crazy candy and all the funny flavored soda, and just make it a cute little trip or whatever, and come on back, let the girls enjoy their little candy, and come back and just have fun with the crazy stuff that we got. So we, do things like that with the girls, but we haven't had like a one-on-one um getaway in a while. And if we have, it was like stuff for, work. Like, when we went to Chicago, I think that was the last time we went to Chicago. We went to Chicago for our cousin's birthday party or something like that. But she had hired Cortez to be her photographer and bring the photo booth and things like that. So it was like we went with just us, but it was more like work and not like we going to, enjoy time with one another. So we definitely need to do more of that. We did take the oh, I almost forgot. We did take that trip to the well, what is it called? The lookbook cabins now? No. Girl, I forgot. Postcard. It's called Postcard now. It was the getaway cabins, but now it's called the Postcard cabins.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we did do that, but that was like a year and a half ago. Um, so I'm like, I mean, we could do something like that again, but I feel like I want to go somewhere and like experience fun things. Because that it was really nice. It was very quiet, very secluded. It did, make you to look at one another. Like you had no choice but be in each other's space and talk and play games and bond. Like, so it's a beautiful thing, beautiful scenery and everything. But I know like we, Cortez enjoys nature and I enjoy the beauty of nature, but I want to go play games too and go sightseeing.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
it's so many different things now out, just like destinations that you can find to do something different. It's plenty out there to do.
Mhm.
I definitely want to. I haven't did. I said I was gonna do it, but we definitely need to make like a bucket list of places to go. So
Yeah. I think that'll be good. That'll be fun. Definitely. Well, y'all, that concludes our list of the other love languages. If y'all had some that, y'all may have heard of and uh want to share, girl, put it down below and join this whole conversation because it's cute or whatever. And you love us. So, do we have I don't think we have anything else. Apparently TikTok didn't go away, so you could still follow us there for the time being. Um, if we have any other social media changes, we will let you guys know. But y'all, we gonna go on and get on up out of here. Cause sis is tired, but sis also has to go get her children ready for bed and school as well.
got
So
us today.
hold on, say it again.
I was just thanking everybody for joining us
Oh,
today. I thought this was good talk about not only the love languages, but expounding on how we could do couple love languages as well.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all don't forget to go get well not don't forget, but y'all go check out Gary Chapman's book if you have not looked up the original 5 love languages. It'll teach you a lot about yourself and your partner and you all can share that and have an intellectual stimulating conversation about it so that you can drop those pounds. Anywho.
You know, add to it too. I think another thing it does is it helps you to keep focus on what you actually need, because I think sometimes we can look into like the fairy tale and what's on TV and what's been done on TikTok and everything. Oh, well, he don't do it, and I don't get. Oh, she don't do and she don't get. But just focus on what you need,
You.
you want, and so
Mhm.
able to hone in. Like, yeah, gifts so important to me.
Mhm.
No, I do need affirmation. Doesn't mean that you don't want to give every once in a while, but it's good to hone in because your partner needs to know what's the best. Well, not the best, but what your most preferred language is. What's
Mhm.
going to satisfy you, fulfill you, and bring you joy.
Yep. Yep. I think that is so true. I definitely do. Well, y'all, before we get on up out of here, like we always say, a good thing is not hard to find.
But it takes work to keep it.
And don't you ever forget it. Don't you ever forget. Don't you ever forget it. Y'all, until next week, we love you. Be safe, stay warm.
All right.
Bye.
Stay safe.